I've recently learned about a mayor who's pretty much become the figurehead for corrupt politicians. Her name is Tiffany Henyards, and she is the mayor of a southern suburb in Dalton, Illinois. Now, while she may not hold as much power as the president, like all politicians, she's been scheming, maliciously crafting a way to maintain control over this Minecraft village. And that's when she hatched this diabolical plan back in late December to discourage anyone who may run against her.
In part 2 of our investigative series, the mayor of Dalton, who's also the Thornton Township supervisor, cements her salary with a last-minute vote.
Our Dane Placco reveals just how she did it. Dane?
Anthony and Natalie, she makes a whopping $224,000 a year. Now Thornton Township supervisor Tiffany Henyard wants to cut the salary of her position by nearly $200,000. What a great move for taxpayers, right? Well, the pay cut only happens if someone else gets that job.
This is hands down the worst tactic to dissuade people from running an election. I'll give you all the Cliff Notes version for anyone who doesn't understand politically. What she is implementing is a pay cut to the position as mayor. To quote the anchor, this may sound great for taxpayers in Dalton, but in actuality, it only happens if someone else takes over. And not to discredit the anchors at Fox 32, but this was not a sneaky tactic. She wanted this to go public. She wasn't trying to hide anything because otherwise it wouldn't benefit her. By making this public and telling potential candidates that the mayor's salary will be cut by nearly 90%, it pretty much eliminates any possible competition, allowing her to maintain power. Now, how she implemented this is beyond my general understanding. From what I've pieced together, basically, the cards were stacked in her favor from the very beginning. She's not only the mayor of this town, but is the head of the Thornton Township in Cook County, Illinois, who I guess are the ones responsible for the ordinance of salaries in the area. Because of this, she was able to pass an ordinance that allows her to keep collecting $224,000 annually, so long as she maintains position as mayor. If another person were to be elected, the ordinance would reset, and they would only be making $25,000 annually. To put this in perspective for the people of Dalton, they either have to decide to keep paying high taxes to Mayor Henyards while working middle-class jobs in Chicago of all places, or have someone run against them, win, and now that person pretty much makes less than the entire town. $25,000 annually on a single salary is no longer enough to live in the majority of places in the US, let alone anywhere within the range of Chicago. This goes beyond ordinary corruption. This is downright evil and straight up unconstitutional.
Odelson says that's blatantly unconstitutional because you can't set an elected official's salary based on who's holding the seat.
You put a salary to attach to the job, to the officer. So it is a blatant attempt to dissuade other people from running and to allow the current supervisor to maintain the $250,000 or whatever it is.
You want to know why shit like this is in the Constitution? It's because some bastard in the 1700s tried this. You don't even have to be educated to know what I'm talking about. You just have to have seen Hamilton. She couldn't even bother to come up with something original. She just stole the same idea some gray-haired had nearly 3 centuries ago. Unsurprisingly, this is not the only scandal she's done. We've only just scratched the surface of this scab, and it only goes deeper.
WJN Investigates has learned a suburban politician's charity has attracted the attention of the Illinois Attorney General after failing to file financial documents. We've reported on Tiffany Henyard before. She holds 2 elected positions, Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor. She also prides herself on raising money for cancer patients.
But as investigative reporter Ben Bradley reports, she's now facing penalties for not reporting how she spent the money.
Hey, I can tell you why she hasn't filed any financial statements. It's because she's most likely forging the numbers in order to keep as much money raised as possible for herself. Even if the charity failed harder than the metaverse, she can still use it as a tax write-off.
Days before a much-publicized cancer walk from Dalton to Springfield, Thornton Township credit card records show taxpayers then footed the bill for more than $10,000 in hotel rooms along the route.
This isn't charity work. This is just scamming people and using their money to pay for her mini vacays. Thankfully, she got caught stealing tens of thousands of dollars from her charity. And what kind of punishment did she face by the state? A $1,000 fine. Man, that'll show her. I don't know jack shit about the political powers of being a mayor. What I do know is the terms vary based on locations, and what should have been salvation for Dalton has turned into a nightmare, as they'll most likely have to cater to her shenanigans for another 4 years, none of which are cheap. I mean, just look at how she chooses to spend taxpayer money.
And as we found, a paycheck isn't the only perk. Village officials have spent more than $24,000 at restaurants in just 1 year. Other questionable expenses include the streaming service Hulu, flights to Texas, Alabama, and Missouri. And then there are the trips to Las Vegas, on everything from steak dinners to hotels, and $3,741.
Dear Lord, I haven't seen spendings this reckless since Chef P and the pink sauce fiasco. She's like an NPC we're supposed to execute in GTA.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
The way she acts when questioned about Vegas shows the exact kind of person you don't want to have in any position of authority. It's bad enough she has to be a horrible politician, but what's even worse is this doesn't extend from her personality. Even if she had no power politically, she's just a god-awful person. In fact, with just a quick Google search, you'll find more from her as mayor than most politicians have within their entire career. She apparently hired a gang rapist alongside using taxpayer money to pay for her expenses such as hair and makeup. Not only that, she has a criminal record of breaking into people's cars, which was knowledge prior to her being elected. So either everyone in Dalton is some kind of hardened criminal that she's an angel compared to them, or genuinely everyone in that village is a brain-rotted Gen Zer who voted basically a TikToker into power.
Pay me what you owe me. Thank you, DJ.
I don't know how much of this next part is true, but apparently she was kicked out of office at one point by the council, you know, checks and balances and whatnot, but pulled the racism card in order to get back in, then proceeded to kick out the entire council in order to maintain her position.
But the mayor took her fight to court and won in the lower court. This ruling by the Illinois Appellate Court days before Tuesday's election said the recall election could go on, and those votes can get counted but not certified.
What? Normally, I try not to assume stuff, but given everything else that has been confirmed and what we can factor in about Henyard, this seems par for the course. This is just an awful look regardless of what position you're in. In the eyes of Mayor Henyard, though, the only counsel she needs is me, myself, and I. Just take that meme of Obama giving himself a medal and replace it with Tiffany. That's basically the only approval she's gotten. I genuinely feel bad for the people of Dalton and wouldn't wish this upon anyone. Again, I'm not an expert politically or in the eyes of the law, but how she's continued to avoid criminal charges and blatantly ignoring the Constitution is a real head scratcher. Chicago area voters, though, they continue to prove themselves to be amongst the most ignorant people in the state of Illinois, and the fact that they continually vote for and then re-elect the scummiest people into power, it's mind-boggling. I hope some sort of action happens and the law finally catches up to Henyard, but that's where the story ends for now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure to leave a like and comment down below. That's really about it, so